Check 1, 2. Hey, yo, can y'all hear me?
We can.
Yes, sir. All right, we live. We out here. We're doing it without the boy Nifty Q, but we got our homies here today. Ronan the Collector, Doc Gables in the castle on NFT Live, in the NFT Live studio. I think that's where we are right now. But It's beautiful. Yeah, it's amazing to see both of your beautiful shining faces here. And you know what? Shout out Nifty Q wherever you are, but we're going to have a great show without you, fam. Yeah, Ronan, how you doing? Let's start with you, my man. What's up?
Good, dude. Good, man. I'm doing pretty good. Jumped in, like we went live, and I'm like looking at your face and you're talking, but like your mouth's not moving. And then I realized that's Gabe, not you. You motherfucker look just alike, man. You got the beards, everything, the hair, the top. You got the shave. I'm good, dude. It's been a pretty good week so far. How about you guys?
Brothers from another mother.
It's a possibility. Maybe we're cousins. I'll take it. Yeah, Gift's a handsome dude, so I take that as a compliment.
I was gonna say you're a handsome guy, so yeah, I'll take that one. So hey, cheers to that.
Absolutely. Yeah, good to be here. It's been a minute for me. I'm great. Sad that Q is not joining us. I'm going to try to be on the show a little more regularly, but I was traveling a bit earlier this year, and now I'm back in full work and Web3 action. Yeah.
Heck yeah, man. Well, excited to have you here with us. And I think I still owe you some DBs or something, because I did see in my wallet a little while ago that you dropped me a little gift.
I did. That was Christmas time. We were trading some stuff. All good. Yeah. Whenever you get to it, I would appreciate it.
I feel like I'm behind on some of my NFT giveaways, etc. But yeah, man, much love. Happy to have you all here, and happy to have you here with us. All y'all in the chat, we see you. Nifty Q's out there in the chat. Asmodai, Quantum Variant, GM, and blessed to be hanging out with y'all on another beautiful day. This is my last day in Toronto, so I'll actually be flying back to LA tomorrow. So I you know what, making up for lost time right now. But yeah, maybe we just checked in with y'all, but are there any things that y'all been seeing popping off that you like want to hit off the bat? Some like quick news that y'all been excited about, other than maybe Pepe coin, which is driving me crazy right now.
I heard you talking about the Smurfs on the Twitter Spaces just moments ago, and I thought some of the takes there were hilarious. Is it the project to bring Web3 to the mainstream? I don't know. I'm being mildly facetious here. I don't think so, but it's kind of fun to see the Smurfs in 3D Web3 form, I suppose.
That's interesting. For me, I think like the most interesting thing is like the same question, right? Which is like adoption and what type of adoption we'll see this year. And I'm really, really like looking forward to, whatever is coming. I feel like, there's been a lot of talk of NFT gaming and obviously like the Amazon like stuff. And so to me, I think like that's still the thing I'm most interested in right now is just like adoption and where it's coming and how it's coming, to market and what, brands are doing and what their different approaches are to the space.
Yes, sir. And I'm sure we'll get more into that. But here we do have pulled up for you. You know what? We'll just hit this. Why not? Off the bat, we have Smurfs Society Legendary, and you can see already 40 ETH volume traded on the secondary, even though there's only been 25 NFTs minted so far. This is going to be a collection of 12,500, like it says. And you know what? Famous, beloved IP, nostalgia definitely coming into play here. I thought it was really interesting when we were reading about this project that one of the utilities is wine bottles. Not really what you'd expect from a Smurfs collection, but again, maybe they definitely understand that their original fans and collectors are definitely of the age to be drinking wine and appreciating wine. So yeah, only 25 minutes so far, but apparently this goes live this evening at like 5 p.m. And if I can find the website, actually, we can pull that up too, because it's actually kind of interesting to look at. But yeah, 40 ETH already traded on secondary volume is
what's going on with that? Is that some wash trading, do we think? Are they inflating their numbers a bit. I guess pre-mint, I'm looking at the activity here. It looks like most of the sales were 19 days ago, 20 days
19 days ago? All right. Maybe they're just trying to get a little bit of liquidity in there, try and make it look like there's some action and some interest already. I don't know, but we're looking at the website right now. You know what? I will say this about it. At least it feels like there's been a fair amount of work going into the project. It doesn't feel like it was just thrown up together in a couple weeks or like a month or so. And there's a big team behind this. So, you know what? Am I ever going to rock a Smurf PFP? Probably not. If I'm being honest, it's probably not my style really, as much as I love them from my childhood, as much as the Smurfs do remind me of some simpler times. I don't know that I'm ever going to actually rock a Smurf PFP. But yeah, 12,500, 100% procedural 3D renders. What could possibly go wrong with a big 3D render from a beloved IP? 250 plus Smurf characters, 350 plus unique traits. So at least for 12,500 supply, 350 plus unique traits is decent. It's pretty good. There should be some uniqueness. And this is what's interesting too, is the different types of Smurfs. So it looks like they've actually got 10 different kinds. Some of them haven't even been revealed yet, but they do have legendary Smurfs, Web3 Smurfs, mythical, personality, artist, athlete, worker, outstanding. 30 plus skins. Oh my gosh.
Oh wait, okay, this is where I wanted to see. Attend, okay, VIP events. What type of VIP events are the Smurfs putting on?
That's a great question.
Private sales. Hold on, no, don't swap out because I can't see now. Unique rewards from our partners, participate in members only games and challenges, and so much more. This is like another like IP that's gonna like leverage like that brand. They're gonna launch, it'll sell out. They'll have like, some hot like, secondary market for about 3 days, and then it's just gonna disappear again, just like all the other ones, right? Is it a good use of an IP that's essentially kind of dead? Yeah, like sure. It's like they keep bringing a Smurfs movie out, right? Once every like, I don't know, they've got that IP and they do it. Not making the big waves, not winning any, awards for the production, but they keep the IP out there and remind people that it exists and leverage it how they can. So, from a business standpoint, I think it's, until people stop buying up this stuff, right? I think I am interested to see though, right? There's been so many projects that have launched, especially from brands, where they end up, with 10,000, 12,000, 15, 20, whatever they say, and then they have to scale that back after they launch because there's not as much interest, right? To me, 12,500 still feels like a lot. Does it sell out? I don't know. How good are they at, marketing to the degens?
Yeah, all great points. And, you were asking on the utilities front, we'll go back up here real quick, about what kind of VIP events are the Smurfs going to be holding? It's a really good question, because one of the things that we joked around about with another, sort of famous childhood IP, Toys R Us, Joffrey the Giraffe, is they had this whole roadmap that they presented that looked like the Bored Apes roadmap. It was like a knockoff Bored Apes roadmap that had a yacht party. I don't know if y'all remember that.
No.
But Joffrey the Giraffe, yeah, and the Toys R Us were promising a yacht party, which didn't make any sense. And Q was excited, but I told him it's never going to happen, fam. I think I was right on that one. But yeah, they talk about all kinds of stuff. They don't mention the wine bottles here, but maybe they do if you click through. But I thought that was an interesting thing as we were reading about it. Yeah, let's go back to the website. Here we go. About utility. Oh, we got like an interesting drag and drop here. Oh, here you go. Again, this website is well built and there's a fair amount to it. It's apparently not really mobile responsive, but I have to at least say that it's nice that, again, it looks like there's been a fair amount of effort put into it. It doesn't look like it's just thrown together. And they're definitely trying.
you know, why is it got to be a PFP? You know, like, why is it got to be like this generative PFP thing, right? Like, why can't they leverage the IP to make really cool fucking collectibles? Like, just make them collectibles and like give us, you know, the same type of, you know, unboxing, right? Like, that's like popular and has been like something that people really get into, right? They give us that vibe. You buy a box or whatever of a Smurf, and then like, I don't know, but like, why does it have to be this forced into this like this, you know, antiquated Web3 approach for a brand?
Well, yo, we got the sandbox partnership, so there's gonna be a cool sandbox Smurf.
That's on
activation.
the bingo card, right?
Yeah.
Does the project have a sandbox activation? Yes. Check that one off the fucking
bingo card. I mean, that's everyone at this juncture, right?
Do they have a PFP? Yes. Do they promise a yacht party? Yes. I'm getting really close to bingo.
Yeah.
Here you go. Unforgettable events. Here you go, Ronan.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Let's see what they're talking about. Our exclusive events will be reserved for our community only and will include VIP parties and meet and greets with celebrity and artist partners. Held in fitting locations, these events will be opportunities for members to come together and create unforgettable experiences.
Yeah. What does it mean? What does it all mean? What is it?
Do you guys have any clue who voices any of the Smurfs?
Whew, no idea. I bet they've done numerous 1980s and maybe early 90s cartoons from our Saturday mornings, at least those of us that are old enough. I mean, yeah, like
that's what I remember.
These are like people that have like a back table at like conventions in the Midwest and things like that. Like not particularly high demand celebrities. No offense, their work's great, but this just feels like a big cash grab, like so many of these activations for dead IP.
There's crafting though.
I mean,
crafting game
and a mystery Smurf. Oh my goodness.
Crafting game is just like another like term for like tokenomics, right? Which is just another another way to get people excited about, you know, money printer go brr.
Yeah, exactly. There's a, you know, the new Ponzi-nomic component to it.
The bucket auction. What is a bucket auction? Are they doing one of these fucking reverse things?
I'm looking at their auction. So base clearing price 0.015 ETH to get your, what was it, your basic general or worker, and the top bid is 7 ETH to claim one of the Radiant Smurfs. So they're doing kind of an interesting auction style here.
What's that? Play to win?
Well, yeah, no random reveal. Looks like top bidders get the rare Smurfs.
Well, this was an interesting thing here too. Besides the fact that they're doing kind of like their own version of a Dutch auction, where I guess the like resting bid is what everybody ends up paying. That's what it sounds like, at least. Is that you can see here they do have a full team of docs people. It's actually linking to their LinkedIn, which is really interesting. But there's quite a few people on this team, and they're all fully doxed with their LinkedIn, which I think is a very smart move. And it does make me at least feel a little bit better. I mean, there's quite a few people on this team.
What's the website?
This is the smurfssociety.com. That's Smurfs with plural. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing it. If you want to pull it up and look at it, go ahead. But yeah, I think it's interesting. I'm always hopeful. You know, like it's hard. You know, you don't want to get your hopes up too much, especially after some of these other drops. The Game of Thrones in particular was one that I got very excited about because I love that IP so much. And then, you know, it never ends up being quite the quality that you hope from some of these, you know, famous projects or IPs. So I don't want to get my hopes up too much. But, you know, I hope it does well. I do hope it does well. And I don't know if I'm going to buy it, though. Any of y'all going to buy this one?
No.
No, because I don't hope it does well.
Really?
Not because I like. This is like to me. This is like the issue with like the space is like the constant. Well, that's weird. I hear like NFC Live in the background. So anyway, I think that like the issue is that we're to me, this is like I said earlier, like we're advocating for more of these like these activations, if you will, in the space, right? Like where like you take the IP, you come in, you snap like the usual like roadmap on it, and then you encourage people to buy and then wash trade to the ground. And like so many people get like burned in that like way, and it's not really what NFTs to me are fucking about. And we're trying to change that narrative, right? Like we're trying to get beyond people like always associating it to like the PFP, right? And I have such a strong IP in the Smurfs. It's such a big opportunity to reach a different fan base, right? Like, why are they giving wine out, dude? Like if you got Smurfs, like how could if this was if this was on Flow and I could go sign my kid up with his like iCloud email address and we could go open boxes for $15 a pop, I'd spend $150 and open a bunch of Smurfs for my son. You know what I mean? And he could have his first NFT. That is like what I would expect from this type of IP. Why are they doing the PFP thing? So that's why to me they don't need to be successful, because if they continue to be successful, then we'll continue to see these types of activations. I got to figure out where the hell that sound's coming from.
Yeah, because your audio is kind of chopping in and out when you're not using your headphones there. But I got the gist of that. Doc, what do you think, man? Any last thoughts? Are you going to be getting in on Smurf Society? Are you excited about it?
I will likely not buy the Smurf Society, mostly because I don't like the IP. It feels like a cash grab. I'm in favor of owners of maybe dead IP trying to reintroduce those characters or that brand into Web3 as something new. However, Smurfs ain't it. I mean, that's just a bizarre selection for a once beloved cartoon franchise to turn into a Web3 product. Like I've used the same example for other projects that have been pitched to me, but the Venn diagram of Web3 users and Smurf fans is two circles that don't overlap, essentially, right? So it's like why this? Like I feel like something like Transformers. I remember there was a little hype over the Ninja Turtles NFT that eventually didn't materialize. Like certain pieces of this vintage IP might have a place here in Web3. In the current ecosystem, Smurfs does not, in my opinion, and it's just bizarre. Like Ronan said, why not introduce it as a $15 product, maybe targeting a new generation of potential Smurf fans, children, for example, and put it at a reasonable price point. It doesn't need to be a very expensive PFP on Ethereum, for example. So I'm in general agreement with the rest of the crew here.
Heck yeah. Well, great points all around. I'm going to be watching it. I'm not committed either way. I don't think I'm going to be getting a Smurf Society because I don't frankly think the art's that cool. I don't need a Smurf PFP, but you know what? It's going to be fun to watch it either way. And you know what? Go ahead and smash the like if you haven't already. Let's help get this show out to some more people. We appreciate all y'all showing up in the chat over here. Again, Asmodai, Prodigy, y'all are killing it. Even Justin Casey hopping in here, keeping the conversation rolling. So yeah, appreciate y'all being here with us on some NFT Live today with Doc Gables, with Ronan, and we're just getting into it. The next story on this sort of quick hits that we're doing here is one that I'm not gonna lie, it's one of those things that makes me sort of cringe, but hey, who knows? We're gonna talk about it anyway, and that is, of course, Pepe coin. This has been absolutely ripping over the last 24 hours. It was actually up 350% for a second there. Now it's up 250%. You can see just in the last, let's go to the 1 day chart. Here we go. Absolutely ripping Pepe coin. So the question here is, are you getting Pepe? Is altcoin season back? Are the shit coins making a return? What do you think's going on here? Other than just memeing and degenning.
Memes memeing and degenning. We've seen a recent uptick both in conventional markets, right? SPY was on a tear last week, S&P. Bitcoin was up, Ethereum was up. But I think the fundamentals for a lot of these things are down. I'm not confident that any of these rallies are going to continue. Sorry to be a bear to our audience and listeners out there. But it reminds me a lot of the cycle that happened in 2018, 2019 after the sort of parabolic rise of all the ICOs and shit coins in 2017, right? So the macro trends were down, fundamentals did not look good, and yet there would be these little flash in the pan pump and dumps that would happen month to month. There'd be a bunch of liquidity moved into a new token. It would flash, it would rise, and then it would be sold off. And I think this Pepe meme token is probably another example of this. I'm surprised no one's done this yet with the Pepe. Kind of an interesting sordid history for Pepe the Frog. For those of you not in the know, character created by Matt Fury for a comic book, eventually co-opted by all sorts of groups on the internet, including the 4chaners, including parts of the alt-right. There's been some recent attempts to reclaim it by Matt Fury. He did an open edition on 3 of his characters from that comic. I think it was last week. I saw it on OpenSea. But anyway, I'm off on a little tangent there around Pepe. But yeah, I don't think this is an indicator that altcoin season is back. I just think it's a likely token that may keep going up, may continue to go parabolic, but it's gonna get quickly sold off once the hype fades. The greater fool theory applies here. When you run out of fools, the price action dwindles.
I'm aligned with that, man. And you guys know I don't mess with the coins. I'm not a token person. I'm not out there like gambling and like it takes too much. You got to be on that shit, dude. You got to be watching, like you got to be dialed in. You got to be plugged into like all like the back channels to know and make sure you know you're ahead of the news. You know what I mean? Like playing the token game is not a necessarily easy task for me. So I stay away from it, honestly. Like I don't really speculate in that way. I stick to the NFTs.
Yeah, and we got Squash Man over here saying, I love the comment that NFT people give NFT projects and founders shit every day. Yet degen in an ERC20 contract randomly spun up by the Anon folks, and people only care about the money go up. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's fascinating seeing this Pepe character come to life in like every single way. It seems like it's become almost like the ultimate internet meme. Like, I don't know what it is, but like every time there's a new project, a new NFT that pops off, there's a Pepe version of it that seems to also do reasonably well. Like it gets at least an initial pump and dump at least. It's absolutely wild. So I don't know. Why do y'all think that this frog has become almost like the international like symbol of like internet degen or culture? I don't even know how to explain it, but it seems like it's really transcended a lot of the other memes at this point.
So I'll suggest this as a good primer in the history of the Pepe. There's a documentary called Feels Good Man from 2020, came out during the lockdowns. And it's all about it's about Pepe. It's about how this character was created and then how it was co-opted and how it evolved into this massive internet phenomenon. Now, this was made prior to sort of the rise of NFT popularity, right? In 2020, 2021. So consequently, it misses all of that latter portion where we get to see this diaspora of the Pepe become a thing that's often made into parody versions of various NFT projects. But check out Feels Good Man. It's streaming on a bunch of services. Really fun documentary, not just from the standpoint of how we got to Pepe becoming this memed thing, but also like just the basic mimetic way that art and cultures transmitted across the internet and often co-opted and re-co-opted. Fascinating story.
Yeah, it really is.
I'm gonna check that out. I love documentaries about stuff like that.
I'm gonna drop it in the chat for the viewers right now.
We do have Matt Fury's website. So this is the originator of the Pepe character.
Yeah.
As you were saying. So yeah, if you want to check that out, Matt Fury, that is the artist's website, mattfury.com, learn more about him. But yeah, it seems like this character has really transcended all the other memes at this point. And now you've got a token, now you got a coin for it. So let us know in the chat if you're degenning on that level, if you're getting into Pepe coin. I have not yet. I don't know if I will, but Rocky R jumping in here asking, did he miss the conversation on the Moonbirds? No, sir. We have not gotten into that yet, but it is coming up, and we are definitely going to cover that. Not financial advice, ladies and degenerates. Prodigy, thanks for shouting that out. And you know what? While we're at it, let's just go ahead and hit this up front, because it's important for your safety and for our safety to mention this as many times as we can. This is not financial advice, and the information was found publicly on the internet. Opinions shared on this episode are solely of the Web3 team, and all information is public domain. So please, DYOR or do your own research. We are not financial advisors, and we are not responsible for your bags. We're just talking about weird shit on the internet like we do. One of the next topics for us to hit on is there's a lot of movement, a lot of updates with Moonbirds, but I did also want to get to Nike, because this is a big deal happening right now, is what's going on with the Our Force One drop. This is the first big Nike branded drop. Of course, we do know, they've had Artifact, different drops around that. But again, that is sort of like a sub brand of Nike at this point, right? They acquired Artifact, and that's been their sort of way into Web3, getting their toes wet, experimenting, probably getting a lot of experience and technical expertise through that team. And now they've been building out their own Polygon platform called .swoosh, of course. And so this is about to be the first drop, which actually starts today with an airdrop that I think has just started happening. I'm like anxiously looking out for an email because I'm really hoping I get one of these airdrops.
I checked my account before we hopped on. It's literally what I did before I logged in. I didn't get one yet. I mean, I don't know if it's complete yet. I feel like the website says that the drop is complete, but or it makes it feel like it's complete. It says 1 in 3 like .swoosh accounts basically are about the odds. So
1 in 3, huh? All right, well, let's pull this up and let's talk about it a little bit. Let me find the proper way to share this one. Here we go. So here you can see a little bit about the poster. This is what they're dropping out, or this is an example of what's being dropped out right now to, I guess it sounds like 1 in 3 of all of the .swoosh domain holders. So if you aren't aware what they did, they've been doing these community events around the US. It's predominantly just being rolled out in the US. As far as I understand, it has not gone global yet, but there's already apparently over 106,000 registered members who got their .swoosh domains. I was lucky enough to get gifted .swoosh. I have mine.
That's how many are getting the drop. There's like almost like 500,000.
Oh, is it like 300,000 plus? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So about 106,000 then that must be the number that are getting the airdrop then. Got it. Okay. So thanks for clarifying that. And here you go. It's Our Force poster airdrop day. This is, I guess, what it looks like. It's a bunch of different like historical Air Force One designs, plus some new ones, plus some that were voted on by the communities. It says the 4 OF1 poster editions feature the pairs that you all voted for in late 2022, plus a few extras. And so this poster, the utility of this is that it gets you in to first access to be able to mint the first drop that is coming in just a matter of weeks, which is, again, these Our Force One virtual sneakers, etc. They do look pretty cool, from that little update. And I do have, actually, we can dig a little bit more into this here. If I pull it up, here we go. Let's just go through this real quick. Leading off with the good stuff, you can see here, airdrop today just started. First access is coming May 8th, 9 a.m. And then general access, 5/10, May 10th, just a day or two after. And then the reveal will be coming in May. So this is all the details, but it does talk about the reveal unboxing. Shortly after members have secured their OF1, there will be a community reveal moment. If you decide to take part in the reveal, this is when you'll get to see that you're a unique OF1. But one of the interesting things is you can also choose to keep your box sealed and not reveal it. So how will that impact the mechanics? That'll be interesting to see. You never know. It's always interesting to have these types of, mechanics within the reveal process because people speculate differently on them, or maybe that increases the value of unrevealed ones. But what do y'all think? I'm especially interested to get your take on all this, Ronan. Again, having your brand eye and perspective. But yeah, what do y'all think of this? How excited are you for Nike's first big NFT drop?
Yeah, for me, what's really super interesting is like that they're really leaning into like the creator, right? Like, so I'm interested in like, what are the details like, once this launches and, is there secondary marketplace or the creators cut into the royalties? And what does that mean for like a massive company like Nike to make a move like that, right? Also, I was reading through the description of the drop. It says that you'll get basically 3D version of the files. So it's like you own like the digital, version of these really cool sneakers, and you can now take that digital version of them and import it probably onto your Blender, animation of your Clone X or whatever, right? Maybe they work out, I'd like to see them do stuff like work out something with Ready Player Me, right? So where your Ready Player Me character can now wear the Nikes, because Ready Player Me is partnered with massive amounts of like, games that are coming down. And so to me, I think like it makes a lot of sense for Nike to be making these moves. And it's actually like, to kind of cool, right? Like I'm really interested in like how they continue to work with creators.
Heck yeah, man. What do you think, Doc Gables, about Our Force One?
I didn't get in on the drop. I'm usually late to finding out about some of these. I'm also not a big sneakerhead, so I guess that's part of it. However, I like seeing this stuff. I like larger brands going after these types of drops. One thing I'm always concerned about, and I guess interested in Web3, is seeing this interoperability or potential interoperability of digital assets, right? The thing that we want with our Fortnite skins and our Counter-Strike skins and all of these big AAA game studios, and that we don't have, right? We can't take these assets between games, between platforms, between pieces of IP. However, if you've got a brand like Nike or like Adidas that's doing these large releases in Web3, it gives me hope that they're going to take charge and try to lead the way at getting that interoperability or that cross functionality, composability, whatever you want to call it, between popular platforms and their assets. Maybe we'll see these drops usable in Fortnite, or maybe we'll see them adapted into the sandbox. I'd like to see them adopted into AAA projects that aren't so Web3 native. And if anyone's got the capital behind them to do it, it's Nike. And why not, right? It's another marketing arm for them. They take their iconic swoosh and they put it into a piece of IP and meet the users where they are. So I think this is cool stuff, and it's something I might try to cop on the secondary. But we'll see. It's one of these sort of great hopes for Web3 is that one of these big brands will sort of crack that open in terms of the interoperability of the assets.
Heck yeah, man. Well said, and couldn't agree more with all of the above. I do think it's probably going to be pretty successful. Like if I had to bet, this is going to get a lot of attention. And one of the cool things about this too is that, they are actually sharing this out from some of the official Nike accounts, dot swoosh, all this stuff, they're actually putting a little bit of their brand power and recognition behind this. It doesn't feel, like some just totally separate, siloed off thing. Like when, Game of Thrones, for instance, they just licensed it and created a whole other separate thing, and it didn't really have the support from the brand itself. And that's always been a problem and a challenge with a lot of these types of projects is, are they actually getting support? Squashman over here saying, I hope I get an airdrop too. Got the dot swoosh access code just a few days before the snapshot. So fingers crossed. I guess they were allowing more people in just before they did the snapshot. So that's great. Congrats that you at least got in. Nifty Q saying he needs more Moonbirdies as well as Moonbirds. And yes, we will talk about Moonbirds here momentarily. Also, Asmodai here, they have done a lot of work on tools to convert clones to VRML format, imports into Fortnite and other metaverses as well. So is that something you know about, Ronan? I know, are you still hodling your clone? What's going on with clones?
I still got my clone. Yeah, I still got my clone. Definitely, man. We're like, I'm one of those that like, if I bought into something at like 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 ETH, man. Like, and it's at 3 right now. I'm just sitting on it. Like, I don't care. I'll be either a member for life or it'll come back to life. Right. So like, it doesn't bother me, man. It is what it is. And, I know a little bit about that. I actually, my homie, shout out to Meta Mike. It's, Twitter at its Meta Mike. If there's anybody who's on the forefront of the CloneX shit and AI and the way that people are utilizing tools like Unity and Unreal to create their own little pocket metaverses and things like that, he's the guy. And I'm pretty sure he was the first one that, if you look in his feed, he threw his clone in Fortnite, in the new Unreal Fortnite builder.
Is this him?
But yeah, that's him.
Here?
Yeah,
All right.
that's
Shout out Meta
super
Mike.
cool fucking dude. Yes, shout out to him, man. He's super smart. He's totally dialed in. I would definitely throw him a follow if you're interested in anything that has to do with like AI, gaming, Web3, metaverse, and combining. Like, his thing is like, how do we combine all this shit? VR, AR, right? He's super dialed in there, and that's where like I literally ping him probably twice a week asking questions about what's going on in the AI and VR, and this is definitely something we discussed, and that's where I think we're going, right? Like Fortnite, you see it. Like, you can see he literally pulled his Fortnite clone into Fortnite and is running around playing now that like, Epic launched the Unreal Fortnite editor. So we're slowly getting there, man. And what I think that's really exciting is most importantly, we're getting there with companies like Epic, right? Mm-hmm. Like, a lot of people are like up in arms, like Steam and Gaben don't really care for NFTs and oh no, it'll never come to Steam. Well, that's fine. The people who are making one of the biggest like game engines in the world, easily the most accessible, right? Like Unity, I think, is still technically like holds like double the market share, but when you talk about I can get an Unreal and watch a YouTube video, an hour later have a sick fucking scene, right? They're into the space, right? And they're making these tools that are all about empowering creators and giving creators as much leverage as they can. So I think this bodes well for everyone in Web3 and who, especially the builders and creators who want to do really cool stuff, because Unreal's free. You can jump in, have access. The Unreal Fortnite editor is free, and you can go at it, build to your heart's content. And then eventually, I imagine there will be a monetization model for creators. And so, when you look at Epic and Fortnite, and then Nike and Dot Swoosh, these are two massive platforms that if they've got the right people behind them, are probably thinking about rev share with creators, which is going to open up a massive opportunity for them as a business, and for everyone who sits at home and are massive fans of these brands and sketch in their notebook while they're doing their work or school, their version of Nikes or their Fortnite character or whatever, right? And so that's the power that I think brands are starting to see in how if you open up your ecosystem to creators and let creators create with your IP, right, in controlled environments, it could be a net win for everybody.
Bro, that was so well said. And yeah, nothing gets me more excited than seeing big brands starting to take the space more seriously and actually understand the power of the community and the technology, and actually invest more in, these longer term platforms or visions. And I feel like Nike's doing that. It feels like they're actually really investing themselves in the space. So that's pretty heckin' exciting. We did, by the way, check over in the comments. We dropped the link for today's show on Twitter. So if you haven't already given that a like, given it a share, go over there, do that for us, and also smash the like here on YouTube. We really, really appreciate it. It makes a big difference. Marty McFly saying he bought the Pepe, he bought Pepe coin. So the top is officially in. Also, Left Action House saying, I'm about to sell a couple of bags. So yeah, the bull market is on.
That I love how like everyone believes that they're like the top signal, right? Like if I jump into this, that's it. This just gonna tank. Like like it's funny. We all have that fear of being like the top.
We've all probably been there a few times at this point. If you're still here, you're right.
Right. We just talked about CloneX, right?
Well, I wanted to pull that up because Ronan, I know you've got a hard out here in a couple minutes. And yeah, because here's the question that I got for you, Ronan, as a holder, and for anybody in the chat. Is there a point where these top collections that are sort of considered, quote unquote, blue chips, they kind of enter a certain level of status and floor price and notoriety that they kind of just get lumped in as, oh, this is a blue chip project? Is there a point when they lose that status? Like, has CloneX gotten beaten down so far now? It's sitting at a 2.7 ETH floor. I mean, it was at like, what was the all time? It got up to over 20 ETH at one point. Holy heck. And then it was sitting around 15 for a while.
That was smack
10,
dab in like the tippity top of the whole market, right? That was right before right before other deeds. To answer your question, then I do have to jump because I have a work meeting right at 2 and it's a management meeting. I think that there are certain brands that can withstand a lot, right? Like we've seen it in pop culture, we've seen it all over the place, right? You've got people who like totally cancel themselves, and the better story that we all love more than the watching someone burn is watching them rise again, right? Like it's proven. Like we love the comeback story more than we love to see people crash and burn. So in my opinion, if the brand is strong enough, absolutely. I'm with Biggie. I think Biggie would say the real diamonds in the rough are absolutely going to, like, when the bull market really is back on, these are going to shine. I'm still holding a CloneX. I didn't drop even after it pumped, after I bought in, because I really do believe in it, like long term. I think like the relationship with Nike cannot be understated. And also the vision that those guys have, like they really push technology, right? Like they're really pushing like the boundary when it comes to tech. And that is very, very valuable in a world that is quickly becoming digital by the fucking millisecond. So yeah, man, I think, I think like Moonbirds, we're seeing Moonbirds. Like, I think like Moonbirds has the potential to be one of those brands, right? Like they're showing they have longevity. They have a plan, and team behind them that's really trying to do things. Same thing with like Oni, right? Like people would have written Oni off, right? But we're seeing Oni not only make a comeback when it comes to their floor price, but also make a comeback when it comes to like really like intelligent moves for their IP and their brand. They're making the right types of partnerships. They're leveraging it the way they should have from day one. So yeah, absolutely. I think like it bounces back. I think a bull market we have, I just think that we're not going to have so many. I think like next time around, we're not going to have so many. Like you're not going to have, 20, PFP collections all over 50 ETH, right? Like at one point I feel like we got close and it felt like there were so many that were Moonbirds and all these other shit. So yeah, that's kind of my take, but I love you guys. I appreciate you. It was so good to see you, Gabe, man. We need to get up on some EFT soon.
Oh yeah.
Heard they're taking care of cheaters. And I heard AI is helping with that. Yeah, it's good to see you too, GIF. I'm sure we'll see each other again soon in person. I'd love to give you guys a hug. But outside of that, I hope everybody takes it easy, enjoys the afternoon, our vibe, our tribe, guys.
Yo,
have a great day, Ronan.
Smash the like for Ronan. We appreciate you. Hell yeah. And we're going to keep it going for a little bit longer here with the man, Doc Gables himself. Smash the like for Doc Gables too. My brother over here looking like my fucking doppelganger. It's fucking, we both got like the green on too.
I swear amazing. We didn't coordinate this. I could have had a hat that looked like that as well, which would have been extra.
Hell yeah. Well, I'm excited to be talking to you, also with you over there in the chat, if you're hanging out with us or if you're catching us later on Spotify, because hey, if you didn't know, we do syndicate all of our live audio now out to audio platforms. So Spotify is one of the best places that you can be keeping up with all the things on the Web3 network, both GM Web3 and NFT Live, and some of our other special podcasts like the Fuck You Money Fuss Pod. All of that audio gets syndicated out to audio channels and is on Spotify within hours of us going live right here. So if you haven't checked out Web3 Network on Spotify, strongly recommend you do that. But yeah, to these amazing people in the chat, y'all are killing it. Appreciate you. Asmodai commenting here on the CloneX situation. He's saying the question is not the value on the market. It is what's the value of the community you're involved in. Great point here. Got a lot of love for Ronan over here as well. We got wonder what a list of dreamer PFP traits would output from Rift Diffusion. I don't know. What do you think about that? I don't know what Rift Diffusion is, so I cannot.
Either. Tell us what that is, AZ. I'd like to know. And maybe
Asmodai. Let's keep that conversation going in the chat. Let us know what Rift Diffusion is. Have no idea. But yeah, we're going to keep it going here. We do have Moonbirds, some big updates to cover off for them in just a second. But I did want to hit briefly before we jump into Moonbirds and everything that is going on with them. Since we're on this sort of topic of big brands, creating, awesome case studies, trying to build platforms, specifically on Polygon, actually right now, we do have an update on Starbucks Odyssey. So let's hit this real quick. What's brewing? It's the first store collection that is dropping very soon. They've got the sneak peek of benefits, etc., but it is dropping actually tomorrow. So if you're catching us while we're live on Tuesday, just know this is happening on Wednesday, April 19th, the first store collection, because it is apparently based around the history of the first Starbucks store in San Francisco, I believe. Or no, Seattle. Mm-hmm. It was in Seattle. Yeah.
Pike Place, Seattle. According to the article I have up here. 1912. Yeah. I didn't know Starbucks is literally 110-year-old institution at this juncture. I thought they were founded in the 80s or something like that. So that's absolutely wild.
That is wild. Yeah, and you see it right there on the store, 1912. I didn't realize it was that old either. But yeah, here's some.
Or
is
that the address? And I'm just totally.
That might. Yeah, actually,
it's the address.
It's because it's 1971. Yeah, I didn't think it was that long either because I read this earlier, so I'm crazy. It's 1971. So since opening our doors in 1971, our store in Seattle's Pike Place Market, which is at 1912 Pike Place.
There we are.
It has come to represent the start of a coffee movement that spread around the globe, as they say. So you can see here what this is looking like. It is an edition of 5,000 going for $100 each. And one of the interesting mechanics that they're already implementing here is kind of like their own sort of allow list, whitelist strategy, where basically if you've got other journey stamps, if you've collected 2 or more, then you get early access for this drop. So they're already building out their whole ecosystem, providing utility back to those that are participating, collecting their stamps. And you know what? That's a great thing to see. And we appreciate when projects can do that well. So I think it's really cool to see a brand in their own platform, in their own project, being able to start to provide sort of utility back to their collectors already. So I don't know. That's pretty heckin' cool. Shout out Jordy Mora in the chat. Yo, I got to hang out with Jordy a couple of times while I'm here in Toronto. So it's awesome seeing you here, fam. I hope you're doing well. Here we go. Prodigy jumping in here with more. The original Starbucks was a family-owned coffee bean store. They only sold bags of coffee. So there you go. Getting a history lesson. Appreciate that, Prodigy. Any other thoughts on Starbucks? Have you been doing Odyssey at all?
I have not. I tend to avoid a lot of the big brand Web3 stuff. I'm fascinated by it. I like to see it, but day to day, the stuff I buy is usually not in that category. I'm curious how this is going to blend or fuse with anything at their retail locations, right? Or is it just strictly a web thing where you're collecting Starbucks stamps to collect Starbucks stamps? I'd be more interested if there was some integration into their popular Starbucks app, and if there were bonuses or discounts or free coffees, which they do so readily for their IRL promotional efforts, right? Like free coffee on your birthday, you get X amount of free coffees or one free coffee out of X amount of purchased coffees, et cetera. Like how is this going to interface with what they're doing with their actual products? So we'll see. I like to see it. I love to see the big brands. Whole bunch of that this week, right? Which I'm sure we're going to get to. And this is running in tandem to serious SEC discussion about hyper regulating this industry, and yet we have some of the biggest brands on planet Earth doing releases this week. It's a bit mind boggling, to be honest.
Yeah, no, it's actually a really good point, because that was another big thing that we've been watching today that everybody's been commenting on, is that SEC boss Gary Gensler is actually on the Hill right now, testifying in front of Congress, apparently getting a lot of flack, kind of getting his butt kicked by some people up there, asking a lot of hard pointed questions about what the heck he's actually doing and how efficient is he being with his job, because a lot of people are starting to feel like the evasive, not giving clarity, the way that he's running things is not actually helpful. So anyway, we got some more comments I want to hit real quick here on the Starbucks situation, and maybe we'll catch up on what all has been going on Capitol Hill and the SEC, because I do think it's interesting to see, to your point, all of this sort of development, growth, rolling out, drops, execution, and all this happening with these big brands in the US at the same time that the regulation is just a total mess. And what does all of that mean for it? But yeah, we got some comments here. Prodigy saying, so after his comment about Starbucks being a family-owned coffee bean store, then it was bought by a man that had been to Italy and seen how they do coffee differently. It wanted to create something with their beans, then named it Starbucks, and it has boomed into $1 billion business involved in construction and tech companies. Apparently, Prodigy saying he just watched a 2-hour documentary, so that's why he's the expert over here. Hey, you're the perfect guy to have in this chat right here. I do think, to your point, Doc Gables, it is one of the most successful, big, beloved consumer brands in the world. And so that is what's exciting, and why I'm participating in it is because I spend a lot of money at Starbucks. And if this can actually get me to some legit real world perks or some kind of VIP Starbucks status, I don't know, that could actually be valuable over the next 10 to 20 years of my life. Who knows? I have not gotten any of my stamps yet, but I'm like close to getting a few of them. You got to go through it. So wait, are you doing it or not? I think you said, are you doing it at all?
It's one of these things I might do. It's like, these are things I usually, pick up on secondaries if there's access to it. Right. I did not sign up to this one, admittedly. I used to be a big Starbucks drinker. I got really snobby about my coffee. Like, I was drinking a cup of, what was the Pike's Peak roast, I think it's called, their standard drip, right? Their standard burnt coffee taste. Loved it for years, and then got into other beans, and I usually support my local roasters. So haven't been keeping tabs on what Starbucks is doing at Web3, but I do love to see it. I mean, these are the types of mainstream integrations and releases that we need to see for Web3 to reach that critical mass in terms of user adoption. So I'm in favor of it. That being said, probably not participating yet, unless it's something I can pick up on secondaries. But yeah.
Left Action House over here, really not a fan of Starbucks coffee. I tend to agree that their normal drip coffee is burnt, and he's saying it's bad coffee. It sucks. Prodigy saying, I like Dunkin' better than Starbucks. I actually agree. I'm a Dunkin' guy myself. Right. Anyway, yo, shout out all y'all in the chat, absolutely killing it. And again, one more time, if you have not smashed that like button, fam, go ahead and do it. It feels great. It feels nice, when you hit it, and liking some cool stuff, sharing it with your friends too. If you haven't already, it is on Twitter. And you know what? We got one other big, super important announcement. If I can find it here, we do have the world tour of the Web3 Lounge that is popping off. We are going to Austin next. This is actually a really big, exciting thing for us. Whenever we go to, here it is. Whenever we go to these different conferences and get to produce some awesome community events, some awesome satellite events, they're always lit. We have a track record from the Nifty Castle through to Web3 now, doing these Web3 lounges at multiple different conferences as these awesome satellite events of just throwing some of the dopest community events. The culture always comes out. And this time we are doing a one-off Web3 lounge in Austin, Texas, at an amazing club, a private club location called Highbrow Lowbrow. And yeah, it's going to be dope. A lot of our friends are going to be there. That's the tweet. I'm going to go ahead and drop that in the chat right now. So please give that a like, give it a retweet. Make sure any of your homies that are in Austin are going to be coming out to this. You don't want to miss it. And had to go ahead and share that out while we're doing some housekeeping here real quick. So that's in the chat. Give it a like, give it some love, retweet it, and we really appreciate it. And without further ado, I want to make sure that we cover off on the Moonbirds. A lot of big announcements happening with them. I think Ronan was mentioning, they seem to be one of those IPs that is continuing to build, even though they're beaten down. They've definitely had a rough run of it over the last couple months. They're continuing to build and do what they can with their IP, do some really cool stuff. And you're starting to see some of that stuff come to fruition here. This is one of several big updates that is just come out in the last day or so. And it's actually a short film that they produced with Golden Wolf. So this is the tweet from Golden Wolf, and we're going to try and play this video for you here because it's actually pretty cool. I started watching some of it during GM Web3. So they say, we recently had the pleasure of helping bring the iconic Moonbirds to life with our friends at Proof. With a sprinkle of Indiana Jones, a dash of Kung Fu Panda, and a dollop of anime inspiration, we cooked up an action-packed adventure for your eyeballs. So I'm going to try and play this. Doc, let me know if you can hear it. So I'm just going to play it real quick and let me know if you have audio. Yeah?
We got it.
Yes. All right. Let's hop into this and we'll talk about it when we come out on the other side.
That was fun. Good sound design on that as well. All of the little rock sound effects, and yeah, it was great. But what does it mean? What is this a prelude to?
Yeah, that is the perfect question, actually, because I believe what that was getting into was, I want to call them vessels, but they're not. That's the Yuga term. But they have these similar, I guess they're the mythics. They're kind of like eggs, I believe. And so there's these three like mythics, and we're going to hop over here real quick to some more of the updates. I think it's all going to come together. But I will say real quick on just the response to that. It's good quality, and again, it's always amazing when you start to see NFT IP being brought to life in like cinematic, high quality anything. Whether it's 3D or 2D or animation of any kind, or even if it's being brought to life in like what do you call it? Live action? You know what I mean? Like Based Heads, they and Supermassive were doing some really cool stuff with live action video and bringing the IP in cool ways, but just in really creative, super cinematic ways. So I have to say, it's a cool video. It's a 1-minute video right now. You can check it out on the Moonbirds Twitter, and we're going to dig a little bit more into some more of these updates and see what it all means. So here we go. This is one of the other major updates that's come out of some of their recent announcements, and that's Talons. So this is their new rewards point system. If you'll recall, I believe they were initially teasing out that Moonbirds would have their own token. But of course, as we know, what is looming over everything right now is regulatory uncertainty. It that definitely damaged the Gutter Cats gang's plans to launch their gang token, and also Moonbirds. was affected by that, but they've decided to move forward with sort of maybe an in-between solution, a digital currency in their own ecosystem called Talons. So Monday was a significant day for Moonbirds community and proof ecosystem. In a Parliament space, they announced the forthcoming beta launch of Talons, a reward point system poised to replace their nesting. According to Moonbirds founder Kay Rowe, Talons will be similar to credit card reward points and earned daily for holding a Moonbirds NFT. Seems that they chose to go with this option instead of a token to avoid, of course, regulatory uncertainties. Talons will be exclusively accessible to holders. It will be utilized within their ecosystem for claiming art, buying event tickets, and exploring other opportunities that the team plans to introduce. And then this is what I think was being referenced in that video are these Diamond Edition exhibition and mythic eggs. So these mythic eggs is, I think, what he was, the owl itself, the owl character was kind of taking out of the tomb, risking his feathers for. So additionally, during the Parliament space, team announced two other significant developments, the Diamond Exhibition and mythic eggs. So the mythic eggs are already claimable and come in 3 levels of rarity: legendary, runic, and stone. And so I think that is what was being shown in that video, is one of those sort of mythic eggs that he was grabbing. And yeah, there's 3 different types. Again, it kind of reminds me a lot of the vessels. I don't know, like Gables, have you been paying any attention to like the updates with Yuga and the Mara and Legends of the Mara and any of that?
A bit. I was part of the Yuga ecosystem for many months. Sold all of my NFTs, not saying what I had, but I still keep tabs on the news. These do seem like sort of parallel things, right? Parallel projects with some of their components and how it all fits together, and with some of the incentive models, which I think is fun. I mean, this is sort of the nature of a lot of these sort of derivative sort of projects. I don't mean derivatives in terms of like a knockoff or a new version of an NFT, but rather like you have a core asset, and then you have all of these sort of sister or daughter son sort of projects that are birthed out of it. So I'm curious to see what they do here. Meanwhile, the prices of all of their core collections continue to dwindle. So it's kind of an interesting thing from a financial speculator standpoint. Yeah.
Maybe you got out at the right time then. So you sold all of your NFTs. You just like, there was a point.
Not all my NFTs. I sold all of my Yuga stuff. I sold all of my, I sold my apes and mutants and whatnot. And my other side deeds that I was able to mint.
Wow. Okay.
And then Moonbirds I've been tracking. And now I see they've got like Yuga even has the robot collection, the name of which I've already forgotten. But yeah, some of the tokenomics of this stuff is a bit confounding as the collections grow, right? So it looks like Moonbird has outlined something pretty clear here.
Yeah. So actually, that's a really good point, right? Because it seems like Moonbirds at this point are crossing what we like to call here on NFT Live and on the Web3 network, the chasm of complexity, right? So it's like these collections they get to a point where they're so esoteric and so, sophisticated, or there's just so many different parts of it that are all working in these different ways with the different tokenomics and the different collections, that it can be very, very daunting and hard for a new person trying to get into the collection to understand or feel like, they're getting the most, or they're not just missing out on everything. So again, we have this concept, this idea of the chasm of complexity, that once you've kind of crossed that, it's hard, and you have to find ways to bridge new people in. At that point, you have to make it really, really easy. And so, here's a little bit more on these updates from Moonbirds. You can see they're doing their best to show all the different things that are going on with these different mythic eggs. And by the way, the oddities, the Moonbirds oddities are tied into this. So having an oddity affects whether or not you get an egg or what type of egg, I think. So yeah, it does get very complicated here. But you can see that, you've got different chances. Like what this is outlining with the mythic eggs is a claim schedule that it basically shows your opportunities to get the different rarities based on when you claim. So, one of the things that all these collections are trying to do is they always want to try and get people to like participate as early as possible, right? They don't want it to string out really long. They don't want a bunch of people waiting weeks to go and participate. They want to get the action in. They want to FOMO people in and get the price action and the volume moving. And so they'll always incentivize, or I guess what you're seeing more of, and again, actually, the Utes and the DeGods, when they, migrated from Polygon over to, from Solana to Polygon and ETH, this was something that they did really well, is they offered really unique incentives for people that migrated within the first 24 hours. So this seems to be, part of the meta now as you're making these bigger moves or these bigger updates or these claim periods. How do you incentivize the fast, adoption or the fast claim or the people to move as quickly as possible when they're not necessarily like, when they don't necessarily have to? It's actually a really interesting balance, because you don't want to do what the other deeds did with their claim, which is have too short of a claim window that you create a gas war, but you also don't want to stretch it out so long that you lose that momentum, right?
Yeah, this is a tricky sort of behavioral economics problem from, or maybe a framing problem used in marketing, right? They want users to participate, or in some instances buy, depending on what the model is that you're talking about. But we have these sort of artificial constraints within the Ethereum network, right? They're not artificial; they're very fixed and real. But we have these constraints that sort of upend the typical model of how you incentivize users or how you garner that early adoption, because you can just screw up the network and clog it up with high gas fees if you get too much participation. So there's a delicate balance that every team launching on Ethereum mainnet has to deal with. And I've seen that myself with some of the projects I participated in. I do like that model though. I'm curious how long this sustains, for continual or subsequent drops after. I know we haven't gotten too into the discussion of like whether this is a good time to enter the Moonbirds ecosystem. Again, not financial advice. I've been watching that main Moonbird NFT price just tick down here over the last few months, as well as the Proof Collective pass. And I think like, okay, there's got to be an inflection point where we find like at least a local bottom, and where there's some serious potential value in aping into that ecosystem at these lower and lower price points. I myself have been tempted to pick up a Moonbird in recent days, but we'll see. Haven't done so yet. Shout out to friends of mine that are likely watching that own Moonbirds. I won't name any of you, but there's a few that I'll be sending this link to if I haven't already.
Yeah, man. It's definitely getting to a point that it's interesting to me. The price is pretty low. It's like around like 2 point something ETH. So, for a quote unquote blue chip, or one of these that has been considered a blue chip, that is doing so much, continuing to build, that has, the community and team that it has. Not financial advice, but it does seem like it's getting to a really interesting range to possibly buy in. So many great comments coming in here. Shout out William Peartree, Erafim, Left Action House saying that he's in Austin. I'm guessing it's a he. Sorry if I'm misgendering you, but Left Action House saying they're in Austin. We will see you at Consensus, friends. So yeah, that link is pinned.
Shout out to Left.
Yeah.
He operates another great YouTube channel. They do shows weekly, actually. Yeah. Should have him on as a guest or co-host. He's quite animated.
Hey, would love that. You know what? Nothing better than a recommendation from this guy. So there you go.
Thanks,
we'll have to set that up. Nifty Q still out there saying thanks for the coverage today. We appreciate you. But yeah, also Erafim saying that apparently he thinks they think I need to do some more of my on the street Q&As. So maybe we'll get out there and do those. They're a lot of fun, and I think they're funny. So I'm glad you think they're funny too.
You should.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. But yeah, let's go ahead and just cover off, maybe we'll wrap up here with some of these last details about what's going on with Moonbirds, because I was able to identify the right thread to dig into. So this is a fun update. This is the Beeple Everyday that they collaborated on around NFT NYC. Apparently 10 Moonbirds holders got this piece of art. Edition of 10. Look at that. It's got some of their partners, a Chromie Squiggle in there. I see a Nakamigo in there. That's amazing. Then moving on, this is the Diamond Exhibition announcement. So Launching on April 27th, featuring 22 artists, the exhibition marks our unified focus on artists, art, and collecting for the Moonbirds community. Again, that is a big part of their renewed vision, their updated, refreshed vision for what the Moonbirds and Proof Collective is about. It's very much art focused. So you know what? It's cool to see them pushing forward with that. And this Diamond exhibition will be redeemable for all Moonbirds once they reach Diamond Nest. So again, there's this sort of staking nesting mechanic, and you can reach to the Diamond exhibition after you've nested a certain amount of time. And then again, this is kind of outlining the claim schedule for trying to get people in early to get the super high end Diamond exhibition day one pass versus the Diamond exhibition regular mint pass. And then again, you've got this sort of claim schedule where they're incentivizing that. Here's the update on the oddities I was referring to. So now on to the mythics. Legend says that the oddities burrowed beneath the roots and discovered a cache of eggs hidden by their mythical ancestors. The odd god beckons to bring these eggs into the moonlight and release the mythic within. So there's part of the lore of what's going on with the mythics. You can see the ability to claim. Diamond nested Moonbirds can apparently already claim these eggs. And then you see here is the outline of the 3 different types. So again, I think this is what, oh no, maybe it was the Moonbird exhibition actually that they were claiming in that video. Now that I think about it, it didn't, what he was grabbing didn't look like this. It looked like that Moonbird exhibition situation. But these are the mythic eggs: stone egg, runic egg, legendary egg. And you can actually make some choices and different mechanics. But yeah, this to me feels very similar to the Yuga vessels a little bit, but it's awesome to see them, kind of expanding their ecosystem, expanding their lore all at the same time with these, interesting new, I guess they're going to be new PFPs, maybe, these mythics. That's pretty cool. And I did see one other comment over here from William Peartree saying, doesn't this feel too similar to the Before Curtis trailer from the other side? I think it feels a little bit, it's like trying to hype up the discovery of like a new item. And yeah, I guess maybe there's probably some similar narrative there
but
around discovering it.
It's the Indiana Jones take is what it is, right? I mean, that they're both just sort of riffing on that, grabbing the totem from the platform and the booby trapped temple basically vibe.
Yeah.
So very, very similar.
Tomb Raider, right? Yeah,
exactly.
Definitely felt those vibes. But all right, there it is. We covered off on all of the big updates around Moonbirds. Again, it does seem like they're doing a lot, man. And the floor has been beaten down. I think, maybe we'll pull it up real quick. Just go look at it while we're hitting it, see what we think, because it's up above 3 ETH right now. Okay. Let's go look at this real quick. Moonbird floor sitting at 3.19, so about 3.2 ETH right now. And obviously that's down from where they've been. At one point, these were above 20 ETH floor. And you can see the trajectory has been pretty, this is like every project at this point. It's kind of shitty. I feel like it's really shitty, to be honest, when people in the space choose to pick on like certain collections that aren't doing very well right now, because literally if you look at the entire space, every single collection is down like, 80, 90% from its highs.
Precisely.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I find it kind of particularly, trashy and shitty when people are like nitpicking on certain collections right now that are not doing well. Cause it's just like, dude.
So look at the ecosystem. When everyone tightens the purse strings, everything shits the bed, to use a terrible colloquialism. But yeah, that's where we're at. Some of them will come back, some of them won't. New things will come in to replace them. And that's the nature of highly speculative market cycles. And, if you're going to be here in this ecosystem and participate and buy some of these assets, you gotta have that risk appetite and the ability to accept these bad hits sometimes when you ape into a Moonbird at 30 ETH, right? I think that was near their top after mint, right? But yeah, everything's hurting right now. The macro is bad. So
Yes, sir. Everything is hurting. You know what? While we're at it, let's just say this one more time. This is not financial advice, and the information was found publicly on the internet. Opinions shared on this episode are solely of the Web3 team. All information is public domain, so please DYOR. If you're going to buy a Pepe coin or any of these other shit coins or a Moonbird, doesn't matter what it is, do your own research. We are not financial advisors. At least I'm not. I don't think Doc Gables is.
No, definitely not. Try not to. when friends tell me, hey, I'm thinking of buying some NFTs, what should I buy? I say, dude, have you maxed out your Roth this year yet? Like, no, don't buy any NFTs yet. Okay. All right. Leave that to the degens like us. All right. Anyway, I'm kidding. I'm happy to onboard anyone into Web3 that's curious, but
half kidding, right? Yeah. Half kidding.
It's true. You know, let's diversify your portfolio, right? You know, if you're sitting on 6 figures worth of NFTs, you might want to consider, you know, maybe moving some of that over to maybe some less risky assets, you know, if you're planning for your future. If not, you know, YOLO, right? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
You do you. All right. I don't know. Again, not financial advice. All right. Sorry. Gift comes in with this very official disclaimer, and then I come in and start giving financial advice. What am I doing here?
Yeah.
Well,
anyway. On that note, you know, while we got you talking, we're going to wrap up the show here in just a couple minutes and then get out of here. We got maybe 1 or 2 more headlines to hit with the man, Doc Gables. But while you're talking, Doc, what have you been up to? Maybe just give us a quick life update. Any Web3 stuff? Are you doing Web2 stuff? Just what are you working on?
We're still working on Dreamlands. We went through a big rebrand earlier this year. Hired a new developer. We're still knocking out our milestones, our roadmap items. We basically have this battle arena, this auto battler coming out, but now we're kind of developing what we're calling overworld sprites for it. That is like a playable area where users can walk their dreamer around. Just kind of fun. We will have a trailer for that soon, and some actual demos we can share. And then we're deciding where to put it. We're currently in the state where we realize this has to live on an L2. So we're sort of putting our ducks in a row to make some pitches to various non-mainnet EVMs to see who will have us. It's part of our strategy anyway. So we've got some things in the pipeline. I'm also moonlighting on a couple other Web3 projects that I'm hoping I can help bring to life in the next 6 to 9 months. But also market conditions are contingent on the success of a lot of these projects. So I'm sort of biding my time until we think there's a good opportunity for us to launch some of these things. But yeah, I'm still here, still full-time doing Web3 stuff, which is exciting. I'm glad to do it.
Dude, I love to hear it, man. Sounds like you're really busy. That actually makes me really happy and excited for you, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course, man. That's awesome. You know what? Again, it's like the bear market's for builders, and right now it's like survival, right? But I think we all see that there is a light at the end of this tunnel eventually, if we can get there together, right? That's why we keep showing up for this. Yeah.
I don't think the users are going anywhere. You know, I'd say I'm an old head when it comes to crypto stuff, with the early wallet addresses to prove it. But if history in the last 10, 11 years of history is any indicator, these are just market cycles. The technology is not leaving. It gets better every time we go through one of these cycles. Every iteration, we see more mainstream adoption. Yes, a lot of the news is bleak. That being said, there's big multi-billion-dollar brands behind some of this stuff now, and they're investing their own monies in it, and they're not going to sit on the sidelines. They'll lobby to get mainstream adoption, the appropriate regulatory framework that allows them to build. So I'm hopeful, despite what some of the recent news cycles have been demonstrating.
Hell yeah, man. Well said. Well said. I appreciate that take. Yeah, man. It's great. I got one other headline that I definitely wanted to touch on briefly, but Doc, if you got any other stories or projects you just want us to do a quick follow up on or touch on before we wrap up here, let me know. Drop it in the chat. And also, if y'all got any last things you want us to hit before we head out of here in just a minute, put that in the chat. Appreciate y'all for it. But this is one of the only ones that I just thought was kind of interesting and worth mentioning, because it is a new feature for creators on Manifold, and that is a multi-burn feature. And so, of course, earlier on this year in 2023, we had sort of like a mini a mini run with some new metas around the Manifold contracts, the burn mechanics, things like checks, things like neon balloons, a couple different cool projects that popped off early in 2023 around this new tech that was coming out from Manifold. So I thought it was worth mentioning that they're updating that, providing more details, or sorry, more capabilities for creators. Will this create some new projects, some really interesting new opportunities for creators and collectors to come together? Remains to be seen, but basically you can now burn multiple NFTs with any distinct combination of ERC21s and ERC1155s. I think that's interesting. The fact that you can combine both ERC20, 721 and 1155s in this multi-burn means that you can, burn from across different projects, different types of projects, put them all together in the different ways. And multi-token burns will also have new adjusted mint fees for collectors. So there you go. Some insight there. But yeah, this is just interesting because, again, Manifold has kind of been at the forefront of providing smart contract solutions for individual creators or small businesses and companies trying to create cool, interesting things. And they're now presenting this new feature, rolling this out as a multi-burn feature. What kind of interesting tokenomics could that create? I don't know. What do you think, Gables? Is this like, did you get into the free mint or the open edition metas or any of that?
I mint them when I can. I often buy them on secondaries shortly after they mint for at the top, and then I just hold on to them, and that's okay because they tend to be cheap. I still pick up the open editions. I love what Manifold's doing. The biggest thing that I appreciate with Manifold is that they're reducing user friction, right? So they produce off-the-shelf tools that artists, creators can utilize without having to hire engineers. And we knew this was coming, right? Since the inception of ERC 721 as a protocol, since the inception of 1155, and we can go back to ERC 20s, right? It wasn't shortly after the first ERC 20s were introduced on Ethereum mainnet that we saw automated tools to produce them. So now Manifold's taken it to a whole nother level. They've got creator tools for minting your own ERC 721s, 1155s without having to do lazy minting through places like OpenSea or without having to hire an engineer. And now they're getting into some really interesting burn mechanics. So not just burn one NFT for another NFT. Let's take NFTs from multiple contracts and figure out how that makes a new NFT. In an off-the-shelf solution, like some people be like, big deal. You're just sending a couple NFTs in and getting a new thing. From a technical standpoint, like that's something that if you told me, hey, how do we do this? I'd get on a call with my engineers and we'd develop a plan over the course of a couple hours and then we deploy it. But there's real engineering hours involved in that. Now you're taking this potential interesting new tokenomic mechanic, or maybe not necessarily new, but something that's a little less common, a little more esoteric, and allowing creators to develop it quickly and easily with an off-the-shelf tool. That's compelling. And Manifold keeps killing it with these types of releases.
Yeah, dude. Well said. Again, you had some awesome takes here, man. Appreciate everything you're bringing to the show today. Thanks, and so does some of the people in the chat. We got Hash Rhymes over here saying, awesome show. Always a pleasure seeing you on the show, Gabe. Our Vibe, Our Tribes, his Prodigy, good shit, well done. Or maybe he meant to say good show. He said good shot. I think he meant good show, maybe. Well done. See you tomorrow. Nifty Q on the burn mechanic saying good. Now I can burn my whole wallet at the same time. That's right. You know what? I feel like we're at that point right now.
That's how it feels some days, but not yet.
Just burn it all down. It definitely feels that way some days. But yeah, did you have any last things you wanted to hit before we kind of wrap it up and get out of here?
I had a list of like notes for any SEC discussion we might have today, but we've been on for a bit. We can table that for later. It's been fun. Thanks for having me back, and hopefully I'll come on a little more regularly. Yeah, good topics today.
I hope you do. I mean, and I hope maybe Secretary, or I keep calling him Secretary, SEC Chair Gary Gensler gets taken out, because that's part of the update. Yeah, we didn't really hit on what's going on with the SEC too hard today, but I'm sure there's going to be a lot more to talk about where that came from over the coming weeks and maybe months. One interesting thing to throw in there is that Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong was saying that he's now considering leaving the US. And that's we should, like, you would think that the US would care, but it kind of seems like they don't, I think is one of the things that people are feeling like, why do we not give a shit? If these big companies and exchanges, these leaders of this new industry are saying we're going to leave the country because y'all are fucking this up so bad.
That's bad, right? I mean, we can look at the history of like stagnating 20th century economies, right? Like Japan, the boom in the 80s with Japanese electronics, right? They don't innovate as much today. Like, and we know their birth rate's low, but also like their companies aren't innovating like they did 20 years ago. Once you lose that, you lose all of that steam and economic prosperity you're going to get as a byproduct of new and emerging tech. It's not a good sign when leaders at the forefront of Web3 companies are like, oh, fuck it, I'm just going to leave. I'm going to go abroad to avoid regulation. After this was already approved, after Coinbase was already approved as to securitize its company stock. And now their CEOs thinking of leaving the country due to SEC pressures. Like there's some major incongruency here in terms of the way they want to regulate cryptocurrencies, but the way they'll also allow people to make money or commodify the actual companies that are producing these products. Very weird. Similarly, Bittrex, I just saw this yesterday. Bittrex, OG, old school exchange, but one of the more earnest and honest exchange operators out there. Bittrex, Bill Shihara, founder, listed one of my early projects when we were launching back in 2017. One of the more reputable players in the space. Never had any serious compromises, breaches, insider trade. They've been one of the most squeaky clean crypto exchanges in the history of this space. And the SEC hit him with some sort of injunction yesterday. And I was just like, what the hell? It's just the strangest thing, unless there's something that, we haven't heard yet about them in particular, but they're also sort of a small fry by today's standards. No disrespect there, but comparatively to the Binances and the FTXs and the larger exchanges that we've seen over the last couple of years. So just surprising. and in the midst of all of this, Adidas, Nike, Starbucks, MasterCard, Canon cameras, all of these companies doing Canon announced they're doing a photography NFT marketplace on Ethereum this week. Like all of these major companies, household name type brands, announcing NFT Web3 type releases this week in the midst of serious scrutiny. There's just some major incongruity domestically here with regards to this space, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's interesting. I hadn't really thought too much about like what does all of the pressure from big brands already investing in the space do to the regulatory conversation and everything happening. I think that's an interesting part of all of this. But yeah, again, glad we hit on that at least briefly here. And one last thing at the end, I just want to hit this one more time. Look out for us in Austin around Consensus. I'm going to drop this link in the chat. If you haven't liked it, if you haven't shared it with any of your awesome friends, we're going to be out there for the Web3 Lounge, and it's going to be absolutely lit. Cannot wait. Gables, have you been to Consensus? Have you ever been?
I have. It's been a few years. I went to New York a couple of years back for it. Great conference, a lot of substance. Tends to lean a little more on the crypto side, although I imagine there's going to be a lot more NFT and some discussions of other protocols as well. I mean, just given the fact that they've come to rise in the last couple of years, I imagine it's not going to be so much pure crypto discussion as it used to be, but we'll see. Yeah, I always liked Consensus, frankly, out of a lot of the conferences I visited. Yeah, I should come down. I'm not too far from here. I should come down for Austin. It would be a last minute trip, but I missed NFT NYC. Jason on my team was out there last week. Had a good time. Said it was much smaller. He said the vibe was very different, which is understandable. But this looks fun, and I'd love to hang out with you guys in Austin.
Hell yeah, man.
I might have to book a last minute flight. We'll see.
Well, I hope you end up making that call, because it would be absolutely awesome to see you and to see all of y'all out there in Austin. We hope we do at the Web3 Lounge. It's going down at Highbrow, Lowbrow. It's going to be lit. First one-off time we're doing it. I was at Consensus last year. I thought it was a blast. There wasn't a lot of NFT stuff there, so it's great to be representing some of that there. That's why I was like, you think now in the middle of NFT
maybe
winter,
not. I'm probably wrong.
NFT stuff?
No, I don't know. I'm probably wrong in that assessment.
We're going to find out, though. We will be there. And so, yeah, that is in the comments. Please help us get the word out. Let all of your Austin friends know. We want to meet them. We want to see you there. And all right, Doc Gables, you've been amazing. All y'all in the chat have been amazing. This has been NFT Live on the Web3 Network. I've been Gifted, your humble Web3 Sherpa, and we're about to sign off.
You've been amazing too. Okay, give yourself some love on this. All right.
Where's the like? Do the heart over here?
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna mess this up.
It's all good. Yeah, appreciate you, Doc Gables. I'm gonna say our vibe, our tribe, and I'm gonna give you the last word, friend.
OVOT. Have a great day, everyone. Be kind to yourselves. All right.